If you're like me and you have a sweet tooth and you want to eat desserts in a healthy way, then you got to make this chocolate cake. It's rich, it's decadent, and it's super low calorie, only 100 calories per slice, and you're gonna get your protein in. I want chocolate cake, except I want it to be high protein, low calorie, and only 100 calories per slice, because I can't just eat one slice. We're gonna make it. It only requires few ingredients. It's so easy. We're gonna start with flour. A giant bag of self-rising flour. 1 cup of this is gonna make the cake so fluffy and so soft. Nothing gets me more excited than chocolate. There are 3 types of cocoa powders. There's natural, natty cocoa powder, there's dark cocoa powder, and there's black cocoa powder. Black is really, really dark. It literally looks like an Oreo crumbled up into a powder. It's not very bitter, but it's not very chocolatey. It's kind of mild in flavor, kind of like why Oreos don't taste like chocolate. I made a video about that, by the way. Natty cocoa powder. Natty is short for natural. My mom didn't know that, so this is for you, Mom. It's very mild in color. I mean, it's still brown, but not nearly as dark. Super, super chocolatey, incredibly bitter. And then the middle ground. The middle child that no one knows about and no one likes, dark cocoa powder. It's the color is somewhere in the middle and the taste is somewhere in the middle too. It's not as bitter as natty cocoa powder, but it's not as not bitter as black cocoa powder. It's a little bit bitter. It's also not as chocolatey as natty cocoa powder, but it's still pretty chocolatey. It doesn't taste like an Oreo. For this recipe for the cake, I'm gonna use dark cocoa powder. Remember, if you substitute this with black, you might not need as much sweetener. And if you substitute it with natty, you might need more sweetener because of the bitterness. 30 grams of this, 6 tablespoons. I'm gonna scoop a little bit out. Kinda wanna add a little dark cocoa powder in there. Just the color, it's too good. Ooh, that's not half a teaspoon. Half a teaspoon of salt. And we need to use some sweetener. Remember, we're baking a cake. We need erythritol because it is granulated like sugar. It bakes like sugar. It crystallizes like sugar. It tastes like sugar. It's just a little bit less sweet than sugar. And this is a cake, so don't get at me for how much sweetener I'm using. 120 grams.
1 eternity later.
Get your whisk and mix all these ingredients together. We don't want any clumps of any of the powders, especially the cocoa. It tends to clump up. So give everything a good mix. Now for the wet ingredients, we're gonna start with Greek yogurt. This is just gonna add protein. We only need 57 grams. It's time. I'm happy now. 30 grams of maple syrup, sugar-free. The maple plus the chocolate, oh my God, it's such a good combo. It's gonna just make the cake taste more chocolatey. And then 150 grams of water. That's a slow pour, and this looks weird. And mix this all up. We want to get this combined. But before we start mixing it all together, we have one more wet ingredient that's gonna be peanut butter powder. Regular peanut butter has 180 calories per 2 tablespoons. Peanut butter powder has 50 calories per 2 tablespoons. I know it's not the same because this is creamy spread and this is dry powder, but this is what happens when you take all the peanut oil out of peanuts. You're left with a protein powder almost. Take this, mix it with some water, and we get peanut butter. So we're gonna make our homemade peanut butter instead of using jarred peanut butter, and it's gonna save us on a ton of calories and a ton of fat. You take your peanut butter powder and you put 25 grams in. It smells so freaking good, it's insane. I'm a huge fan of peanut butter. And then tare your food scale and add in 30 grams or 2 tablespoons of water. You can add a little bit more or a little bit, no, I'm kidding. You cannot add a little bit more or a little bit less. We want the consistency of peanut butter. And I think this is the perfect amount for this brand's peanut butter. Mix this up. And look at that. That is spreadable peanut butter. It's almost the exact same consistency of regular peanut butter. It's less fatty though, so it doesn't have the same mouthfeel. But in this recipe, it's gonna do the job. This is what we want. Now take your wet ingredients and add this right into it. Plop and mix. Spatulas. You don't need a dishwasher in 2023. If you have a spatula, that's how you get all the peanut butter out. No PB left behind. There we go, it's perfect. I like almond milk, but I like peanuts more than almonds. And I'm assuming this is what peanut milk would taste like. I've just never found it, but wow. This is my new favorite milk alternative. Almond milk is dead to me. Preheat your oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Parchment. Crinkle technique. This is what you do. Ball. Unwrap. This is how you get parchment edge to edge without having it pop out. Because when you take a flat sheet and put it in a circular dish like this, it's coming right out. I'm using a 9-inch cake pan. It's gonna be a large cake. 9 inches, I'm getting body dysmorphia. I really hope this is large. Oh no, I forgot to add vanilla extract, 2 teaspoons. I like a little bit more, I really like vanilla. Mix, wet in the dry, and mix this all up. We need to form a cake batter. But do not overmix because that is gonna make this turn into pizza dough. It's gonna be too hard, it's gonna be too dense. We don't want bread, we want cake, light and fluffy. The less you mix, the better. When you overmix cake batter, it won't rise as much and it's just gonna be too dense and too dry and too rubbery, and we do not want that, especially because we're not using a lot of fat in this recipe as well. So we want everything on our side, including baking temperature, baking time, and how much we mix. The best thing to do is fold. Take a spatula, go over the sides and fold into the middle, and keep doing this. And look at this, this is beautiful. Oh my God. I wanna try some of the batter. I can't resist. I love batter. That tastes so good. Time to bake this. Pour the cake batter in. Perfect. And I get the rest of the batter. I like the batter even more than the actual dessert sometimes. Okay, not true. I like the actual dessert more. But this doesn't have raw ingredients except for the flour. But I'm just gonna eat raw flour and say it's building my immune system, but don't be like me. I'm not gonna be responsible for you dying because you raw dog flour. The cake is baking. Let's make the frosting. 150 grams of Greek yogurt. And then I'm gonna add in 10 grams of cocoa powder. I'm using Natty right now. And then another 10 grams of chocolate pudding mix. This is gonna thicken this up and it's gonna make it so rich and chocolatey. 15 grams of this. No, did I drink too much? Oh God, the powders are exploding. Oh, I got it. A little pinch of vanilla. And then 2 or 3 packets of sweetener based on your own liking. I'm gonna start with 2 and taste. Mix. Powdered erythritol, you cannot buy powdered erythritol, okay? It's expensive for no reason. You take your granulated erythritol, you blend it, and you put it in a little container. Sprinkle a little bit of this in if you want. It's just gonna add a little bit more sweetness. But if you don't have this, you could also just add another packet of sweetener in. And look at that texture, it's awesome. The pudding mix just holds everything together and stops the Greek yogurt from splitting. That's frosting, baby. That's good. And that's sweet enough. I don't need any more sweetener. It's been 20 minutes and I just poked it with a fork because I don't have toothpick. And it came out clean, so take it out. Check out my cookbook, link in the description. It has over 100 recipes and I'm constantly updating it, so when you buy it once, you get all future updates for free. I don't know why or how I'm cutting this on a plate, but I am. Why? Oh, that's so soft. I think that cut all the way through. No, it didn't. Nope. It did not. I'll just drag the knife. It's okay. Can you see that fudginess? It is thick, it is dense, and that icing, it's too chocolatey. I don't know if you could tell, but it is so soft and ooey gooey on the inside. It's like dense chocolate fudge. The calories and macros for each slice will be on the screen now, but each slice is only 100 calories and 6 grams of protein, and you know I can't stop at just one slice. And this cake allows you to eat plenty of slices because it's that low calorie. It's so dense, it's so fudgy. I'm in my mouth, it melts in your mouth. It's one of the densest cakes I've ever had in my life. You would never think this is a protein cake. That pudding just brings everything together. It's like chocolate pudding on top of cake. The cake's like a pudding cake because it's so rich and dense. I'm happy right now. Let me know what kind of cake you want me to make next, and I'll see you in the next video.